Welcome to Top of Mind. My name is Jon Davids here at Influicity, and this is the video series where I talk to interesting and influential people across the media and entertainment world. And today we got a big one. Raine Maida, lead singer of Our Lady Peace, tech entrepreneur, and so much more than that. Raine is really one of the most innovative people I know, and we actually talked quite a bit today. I didn't expect this, but we spent a lot of the conversation talking about crypto. I knew we were going to touch on it, but it really opened my eyes to understand how crypto can impact the entertainment world, the tech world, the media world, really the consumer world in general. So highly recommend you watch if you're someone who's kind of new to crypto or you're really in the space. I promise you, you will enjoy this. If you're a regular viewer of our content, thanks for joining us again. If you're new here, Influicity works with brands and ad agencies across influencer marketing, podcasts, emerging platforms, and more. Our research and our content is totally free. All we ask is that if you enjoy content like this, go ahead and share it with a colleague or post it on social media. We really appreciate it. Okay, let's get to my interview with Raine Maida. The first question I asked was if he recognizes the music industry today as the same one he started in years ago.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I lived through the paradigm shift, obviously. This shift from physical to digital, which the first stage was, digital but paid, as Steve Jobs in his infinite wisdom song was worth 99 cents. But then we moved into subscriptions and streaming. So definitely have seen it all. It's funny. I love technology. That is like, I wouldn't even call it a side hustle. I'm as passionate about technology as I am music, but it's really interesting to see at the end of the day, what COVID taught me was, man, live music is so important, and technology hasn't really changed live music very much. There's incremental changes on some things, but getting in front of people and having that human interaction, there's just nothing like it. And I started, just by virtue of me being in tech and having a really, really talented small team around me. We built a live streaming platform in about 3 weeks called Juju Live that we launched right at the beginning of COVID. Just seeing this happen, I was like, wow, there's not gonna be touring for a while. Let's try to make some money for some artists. And it was fine. Platform was cool. We got probably did about 50 or 60 shows with artists from all over the world. I just felt in my heart like this isn't it. And so kind of backed away. I did one. My wife did a couple. So, I experienced it, but I also felt it from the artist where it was fine. And yeah, you can make some money, but it's not the same. So in terms of, what the learnings were and takeaways from COVID, technology is amazing. Obviously we're talking on Zoom. I do this every day, all day, but there is no replacement for being in a theater or a club or an arena and connecting live.
Yeah. And do you think that is coming? I mean, we're starting to see it now, but do you think it'll come back bigger and better than ever? And do you think the live experience will change much?
Yeah. I mean, there's some parameters around it right now. I mean, down here in the US, I'm in LA. It's open. I was at 2 festivals over the last month. 50,000 people a day, no mask, like it's happening. And I think Canada is a little bit more conservative and we'll get there. And I think, I think 2022 is going to see a return to music on a live stage that I think there's going to be a bigger appreciation. And I think that's a great thing. It's sad that we had to go through this, but there's always a little silver lining. I know a lot of people really had a lot of struggle. We lost some people with COVID, but that silver lining is going to be that human connection being a little bit stronger than it was before.
And how do you think the industry, just kind of going back 10 years, and like you said, you've seen the paradigm shift a couple times here as a recording artist. The dominant way to consume music today is through a subscription, through a Spotify or an Apple Music or what have you. Do you see kind of music changing? Are artists able to make a living like they used to? Is it better, worse?
Well, it's not great right now. Especially when you remove that revenue from live. But what's happening, like literally before our eyes, is this explosion into digital through blockchain. So what I look at it as, it's interesting. Like because of DSPs, and I think they're amazing. I use Spotify, I use Apple. The rates suck. I don't think any artist is going to tell you any different. That needs to be changed. They've extracted the value from music in terms of being a utility that where you can have a million songs on your phone, which I said I use every day, which is really cool. But what's happening now is that pendulum is shifting back, and blockchain is kind of like the superpower, I say, and so it's giving us like legitimate new avenues of distribution, of monetization, and probably more importantly, and I don't say it last, but a community building, right? This is a new way. My thing is like, I got into tech basically because I was like, how do I connect directly with my fans? And then social media happened. And so it felt like you were, but you're not. You're actually diluting your brand that way. And I hate to call my artistry a brand, but when it's out there like that, it's a brand. So what happens is like, I say, oh my God, that show in Phoenix tonight was totally dope. Thanks guys for coming out. I post that on Instagram. The next one, we're in Los Angeles the next night. I kind of post the same thing. Maybe I'm wearing different clothes, but it feels like the same picture. Thank you, Los Angeles, blah, blah, blah. You're seeing on Instagram the big shots of like the photo behind the artist and all the crowd, you know, it's like, oh, that's amazing. How many times can I post that before the kid in Boston mutes me? And like, I don't need to see this in my feed anymore. Right. So, you know, you're trying to leverage all these platforms to talk to people, but essentially you're like I said, you're diluting it. So what blockchain does now, what NFTs do in particular, it allows that, like, now I can speak directly to fans that are interested in my work and build super fans in a really interesting way and get content to them directly whenever I want. I don't have to worry about Spotify or Apple waiting to get it in the queue to upload it. I don't have to worry about a label. I don't have to worry about a publisher, a PRO. It's like, you know what? I have this song right now. Everyone that's in my Discord, everyone that's bought a token, like an OLP token as an NFT, or bought our album, like, we're just going to drop that song in your wallet right now. That's really exciting to me. That makes me think in what I kind of like to think is like digital expression, which is completely different from anything that I've ever done. It's got me actually more excited as an artist than I have been in 20 years.
Wow. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. You're like the crypto godfather here. So, I mean, my knowledge of crypto is very limited compared to yours. I know Bitcoin, I know Ethereum, and I sort of understand it surface level. So, you know, when I think about an NFT in music, I can certainly think about maybe a ticket to a concert being distributed as an NFT, and then it becomes a collector's item. Certainly there's some use cases in music, but unpack that last example you gave me. So Our Lady Peace wants to drop a song and you do that through an NFT. What does that mean exactly?
So next, or depending on when this airs, on October 29th, on October 30th. No, sorry, it is the 29th. Apologies. October 29th, we're dropping a free NFT bundle on a platform that I'm part of, based out of Seattle, called Sing. The I is an exclamation mark, so it's flipped. Sing Market. So when you sign up to Sing Market, you are going to get the chance. It's probably limited edition, so between 500 and 1,000 free NFT singles of. We have a new song called "Stop Making Stupid People Famous." So that song's already out there. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple. But now you get the highest definition audio version of that track. You're going to get stems to the song, so you're going to get all the tracks that make up the song separated. You're going to get a really killer remix by a friend of ours named Billy Howardall, who plays in Perfect Circle with Maynard from Tool. You are going to get generative artwork. So you're going to get an exclusive limited edition piece of art that accompanies this bundle. Now, what that also gives you is that relationship. So again, like high level, now you're part of this community. You will own this asset. We know you own it. And now we have the ability to talk to you as artist to fan directly, no middleman. And maybe I'm going to drop the lyric sheet handwritten, you know, in a couple of weeks to you, or something else. You're actually going to get the demo of that song before it was produced by Dave Siddick, who did our record. So it's just a different relationship that we're having. And then a month later, we're going to drop the whole album as a bigger NFT bundle with all those things and some other cool stuff. And it's actually not going to come out on Spotify until January 28th. So the fans are going to have the album that have the NFT version 2 months before it kind of hits on the DSPs, which is really interesting as well.
Yeah, I mean, this really sounds like the next level of a direct-to-consumer relationships. You know, you had your intermediaries like a broadcast network or something that moved to, I can talk to my fans directly on Instagram or Twitter. I can distribute on Spotify, but now you're actually removing those intermediaries too, and you're going straight. Does that make sense?
100%. You know, middlemen, intermediaries. I think people in the music business would probably, I think gatekeepers is probably the better word for it, you know, and removing that. And again, look, I have nothing actually. I have great things to say. We signed with Columbia Records in New York and Sony in Canada 20 years ago. I have nothing to say. Talented people, really great things. It's the next shift in music. This is what's happening, and it is, like I said, it gives creators superpowers.
So are the Sonys and the Columbias and the Universals, are they getting behind this in some way, or is the intent really that they wouldn't get behind it?
They better, man. And I got to say, like, seeing it from the inside out, and I consider myself part of the industry, we were all slow. We fought all that stuff, right? We fought piracy, we fought streaming, and you don't want to fight blockchain, man. This stuff is powerful. You got to get on board, and the labels. And we talk to them because they call us asking what Sing's doing, and you know, we're working with some of their artists, but it has to. I think they got to get on board a little bit quicker.
Okay, so following the same straight line thought, and I'm going to assume that the audience is kind of at the same level as me. So how does the artist make the same or more money through this process, or is that not the purpose?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I flip it. So to me, it's community, monetization, distribution. But if you want to go to monetization, what's really interesting and what the power of the blockchain is. So you say you buy our NFT bundle, and with that album, you are going to get, you might, if you're in the queue and you're one of the first 10 people, you're going to get an exclusive piece of artwork that only 10 other people own. So that, and we're seeing this already in the PFP space as NFTs with Bored Apes and CryptoPunks and CryptoKitties. That piece of artwork, whether you even like my band or not, first of all, the artwork is beautiful, but that might become a really valuable digital asset 3 years from now. And so what's key to this whole blockchain, and why it's better than just giving it to you or selling it to you on some other, you know, platform, the smart contract is key, right? So in that smart contract is we make a royalty if that gets resold. Up until today, that has never happened before. And so this is what's exciting. It gives a creator lifetime value in the creations. And I think that's justifiable. I think it's defendable. I think it's righteous. I'm all about it. And I think it makes this whole place now much more communal when everyone's participating.
Yeah, and that part of it I love. And it's the equivalent of essentially having equity in a company versus getting a paycheck one time.
Yeah, and we can sorry, John, we can flip it as well, where we can actually like fractionalize a song and give ownership to our fans. Everyone can own, like, you know, 1% of a song. You have 100 investors in it, and when that's on Spotify or Nike wants to use it in a commercial, we're all participating. This is like the magic of it all, right?
It's amazing. I mean, you know, I've heard it said that the next Facebook will be owned by every single user.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Look, so just so you know, I joined Sing, that Seattle-based blockchain company, a year ago on the premise of what we were doing and building, and I built an app for them, was protecting IP. So this kind of intersection now with NFTs blowing up and blockchain really getting into the creator space, it's perfect because we're starting to understand as creators, this is our IP and we should participate. There should be lifetime value all the way through. So it's kind of uncanny, you know, how the world's waking up to being able to go outside and not wear a mask, and creators are waking up to this new technology where they can really participate, you know, on their creations all the way through.
Yeah. So one more question on this. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. Do you think that the whole explosion of crypto, NFTs in particular, and this use case you're talking about, was that a result of COVID and the pandemic in some way? Was it that we were all kind of just, was it sitting inside for a long time thinking, or was this going to happen anyways?
It was happening. The art world, as usual, was way ahead on this. So Beeple is the infamous graphic artist that sold one of his collages for $70 million, right? And Beeple's a friend. We were talking back in November about him. We'd actually had a bunch of Zooms like this going over a concept. He was going to do the first video for our single "Stop Making Stupid People Famous." He just loved the title and loved the band, and so he went and made $100 million plus and started ghosting me, but that's okay. But yeah, these guys, they were just, they got it early, and they got the value, and it's finally trickling down to other sectors. So yeah, again, the bottom line for musicians is we like to just make songs. So if technology's there and it's easy, yeah, we'll grab it. But no, we weren't. I don't think any of us were leaders in this space. But on the digital rights front, it's been happening for a while, because there's touches, there's bots on Discord streaming music and no one's getting paid. There's streams in India and the Philippines that we have and we're not getting paid. So blockchain's going to help that as well. That's not as sexy, really. I love the idea that we can get an album and all these other assets to a fan directly. That's more my headspace.
Yeah. And then before we leave crypto, any thoughts on Bitcoin? Are you an owner? Do you recommend it? Do you think it's the future?
I'm always skeptical of things that are first. Maybe MySpace, maybe that. It's funny. Like I've gone through these things where it's like, oh, you got to do this, and it's the newest thing and it's the best. And so yeah, you build up MySpace forever, then it goes away. And then it's Facebook, and then like that doesn't really work in music. So now it was Instagram and TikTok, and now it's Discord, which I really love. Discord is like amazing. Like I get it now. I really see the value. So we're putting a lot of energy into building the community there. And the Discord really ties into blockchain and the NFT space. So I love that synergy. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, it's all, there's a lot of money to be made there. I don't know what it's at today. It was like $66,000 for Bitcoin yesterday. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad investment. I don't think it's like a Ponzi scheme or any kind of hoax. This stuff is real, but it's new. So
yeah,
beware of what's new.
So talk to me a bit about Discord. I'm familiar with it, sort of, again, surface level, but it sounds like you're pretty deep into it. What's the use case of Discord?
I think the way it divides into subsects and the different channels, and it just allows like really just the build of it. It's really instant, direct, communication, and you set up these communities. Like I said, you can set up different channels within a Discord server, like the OLP server. There's so many cool things. Like Instagram is very, very simple. The value prop is really kind of basic. Discord, it's like, we have channels that talk about NFTs, so we can help explain what that is, what we're doing on that. We have a bot we're setting up now where you can just click on it and listen to Our Lady Peace without me yelling at you. So just the instrumental tracks of OLP albums, which I haven't even heard really. That's cool for someone that wants to be cleaning their house or sitting outside or gaming or whatever. So it's just I just love the variety that it provides. And the kind of customization, it's pretty cool. The gaming world grabbed it first. Gaming is always kind of ahead of the curve. So they made it popular, and now everyone's kind of jumping on. But it's definitely it allows me to go in there and just kind of scroll around, comment on whatever I want, reply to people, even if it's like 3 or 4 days old, post something myself. I just love the connection. Yeah, and look. Clubhouse was kind of cool in a sense. I think when that came out, I was an early adopter there and sat on a bunch, but I don't know. Discord, I think Discord is the winner for sure.
Yeah. So let's take a right turn and talk about cannabis, another area you're involved in. So we go from crypto to cannabis. So, well, I guess first off, high level, why don't you tell us about Legal and what that's all about? Yeah,
I mean, I was approached by a guy named Ian Kuczewski. He's really smart marketing guy, comes from music, is in cannabis, and he was just, being Canadian, we understand that we have all these constructs that help and support musicians compared to down here. If I told someone the government would give you 10 grand to make a record and do a video down here, they'd be like, yeah, right. Doesn't happen. So obviously Canada has already supported the arts, but I think what we've seen, especially during COVID, is like we would need probably 10x of what the government is able to support right now to really give back to the community. So Ian's idea was like, hey, I love this space. I love the Canada space. I think we can do something exceptional in here, but I also want to attach this kind of like a factor or a much fact, this kind of body that is controlled by artists, not no bureaucracy, that we can just help developing artists and help, dish out funds and support them. And, so a certain part of the profits of Loot Pool go to this pool for musicians. And I think that's incredibly inspiring. And that's what got me. I love Ian, and I think his business plan on the cannabis side is amazing. And I love the brand, but obviously my tie to being able to definitely give back to artists and being part of just knowing where that money should go, how it should go, what kind of amounts you like. There's like I said, there's bureaucracy and all the bigger things. This is something that can be controlled by this select group of musicians, and it's going to be powerful.
Yeah. And so where do you see, just kind of bringing this full circle back to music, if you were an artist breaking today, or if you were talking to a young artist today, I'm not sure if someone could break the same way you did 20 or 30 years ago, 25 years ago. How would you recommend an artist, kind of build a career today?
Well, it's unfortunate. I think it's kind of it's unfortunate because you can't just be the kind of artist that I was when I got signed and started. You have to wear multiple hats. It's like Jay-Z, you got to be a businessman, like you can't just be an artist, which sucks. But, I think young artists it's pretty easy for them to build up their kind of brand on socials and stuff. And it's just almost a part of what they do anyway. So I don't think that's a big lift. I do think this NFT space, though, is really interesting. And before you sign with someone who's going to be a gatekeeper, you definitely want to educate yourself on what this space represents now and what it might 2 years from now. Because, these deals that keep you tied up for a while, you might not like that 3 years from now when you find out that, oh, damn, if I was able to own my rights on a publishing or master side, I could just give out music to my fans and create these communities myself, but I'm unable to do that. So yeah, that's what's important. I would say definitely you gotta grind it out, those 10,000 hours, all that stuff, just to get to be where you're deserving of having a career in music. But the other part of it, being the business mind, is equally as important.
Yeah. And you seem to have an entrepreneurial streak. I mean, you've owned businesses, you've been involved, you're very entrepreneurial. Was that the case also when you were coming up as an artist, or did it come afterwards?
I think like someone who's in the startup world and someone who's an artist, it's the same thing. Like, you need the same attributes. You need to be able to hear no a million times, take rejection. You need that hustle, 18-hour days. It's all the same. A band is a startup. An artist is a startup. So if you're able to kind of navigate those waters and you enjoy the journey of it all, then to me that the transition into, tech and startups was pretty seamless.
Okay, $1 million question then. Which is harder, becoming a rock star or building a tech company?
Well, the reason I like tech so much is you have the ability to pivot. With an album or a song, you're stuck. Like, you release that song and it is what it is. And I can't go change it. If a fan says, I don't like this, or I get some feedback that, yo, this thing sucks, it's done. I love tech because of the fluidity where, hey, we put something out, we test it. If it comes back that it's not clicking or people aren't identifying or engaging with it, we pivot. And that's a pretty amazing thing. The creative side of it is almost exactly the same for me, because it is like, I love product. I love the marketing of it. I love the development of an app. I love everything that goes into it. because it should, for me, it should, most of my stuff is somewhat tied to entertainment business. So it should have an effect on you emotionally. That's kind of the stuff I try to build. But yeah, a song, it is what it is, man. And I hate that. I love it when it's great and people, want to play it and sing along, but when they don't, I'm kind of stuck.
Awesome. Okay. Well, Raine, this was awesome. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, my pleasure. Great talk.